Did you know that you can use AI to create social stories? Well, if you didn't, in this video, I'm going to show you how you can use School Psych AI Sophia and a combination of ChatGPT to create not only a really cool social story, but also generate an image to go along with that social story. Let's jump right in. The first thing you're going to do is head over to app.schoolpsych.ai. We're going to head over to the Studio Writer. Once you're in the Studio Writer, you're going to create a new Studio Writer thread. And as I always say, you can label this however you want. We're just going to call it social story. Be more creative than that, especially if you're creating social stories. Anyways, we're going to call this social story. We'll come back and rename it. Let's just call it social story for right now. Now, we've created a template section inside of that Studio Writer thread. What you're going to do, once you have that template section, you're going to go to Tools in the bottom center of your screen. You're going to search in the search bar and just start typing in, boom, social. The social story generator pops up. Inside of the social stories generator, you can use this to create a really neat social story. It gives you 3 prompts where we're asking you for information. What situation is this social story about? And then we give you just a quick prompt so that you can think through. You might be getting ready to go to school, a student is feeling frustrated, just as some example. And this one is going to be a social story about a 6-year-old student who is having meltdowns when it's time to transition from recess to math. The next thing you're going to do is put in what social skill are you targeting? It might be self-regulation. It might be relationship building, sharing with others, whatever it is, go ahead and put that there. For this example, again, this social skill we're going to target is going to be following transition routines, managing disappointment as well, because you can't always get your way in life. And then we need you to put in any other details that you want to add to that story. It could be a setting, a desired outcome, characters, and traits. And then I just provide you some quick information. If you've been working with the student and you know that the student has certain interests, such as it might be from Boston, it might be a Boston Red Sox fan, might be from Dallas, might be a Cowboys fan, might love vampires and love the new Vampires 4 movie that came out. Right? Whatever that student's interest is, you can actually tie it in and then be very creative to pull those elements relevant to that student inside of that social story. You can make it personalized for that young person. And then in a few seconds, we get a social story back. This is Alex's recess transition. So we're going to rename this and we're going to call this Alex's. Can we just do that? Can we do that? Boom. Recess transition. Because this is an editor, you can edit whatever you want. I don't know if this is grammatically correct, but it's mine. So I'm going to just put this like this. The point that I'm trying to show you, you can edit this, make it bold, italicized, underline, highlight, anything you want. It's your social story. You can edit, you can modify. Let's take a quick look at this. Alex loved playing on the swings at Roosevelt Elementary Playground. She would pump her little leg as fast as she could, feeling the wind in her hair and the sun on her face. But when the bell rang, signaling the end of recess, Alex often felt sad, frustrated. She didn't want to leave the swings. What a social story. All right. Read through. It's very short. It gives you a really nice social story that you can then go and work with the student, work with the young person on, which is pretty cool. Now, here's where you're going to take this social story to the next level. We're going to copy this entire social story. One other thing that I think would be pretty cool is if you had Sophia where you put context inside of the tools, just enter down, say include 3 reflection questions. Or you could go to conversations. We're jumping around a bit. We're going to create a new thread. We're going to call this Alex social story. Click submit and use Sophia as a thought partner here. I've just pasted in that entire social story. We're going to say, Sophia, this is a social story about a student named Alex. Your task is to give me 3 reflection questions for this social story I can use directly with the student, and then hit submit. And what we want to do here is to pull in some reflection questions that we can use directly with the student to really drive home meaning and make sure that the student is really understanding here. So while that's running, and in a few seconds, we see that Sophia has responded with 3 questions. How does Alex feel when the bell rings at the end of recess? What helps her feel better about transitioning back to class? What strategies does Alex use to calm herself down when she feels sad or frustrated about leaving the playground? Which of these strategies might work for you? And then, how does having a visual schedule help Alex know what to expect? What we're going to do, we're going to copy these 3 questions. We're going to go back to the Studio Writer thread, and then we're going to jump back in to Alex's recess transition. Then I'm going to add these questions here as well. We see this formatting is a little funky. Again, the beautiful part, we can edit. Boom. So now we have this here. Now I'm going to copy this entire social story. And let's jump over to ChatGPT. So I've pasted that previous output from School Psych AI into ChatGPT. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to click that plus button and then go to where it says create image. And you can see I've added in this prompt that says, here's a social story for a student named Alex. Your task is to generate a cover for this social story I can use to discuss with Alex. Here's the cool part. You see this drop down that says styles? Go ahead and click that, and you can select any of these styles that you want, which is really cool. So let's pretend that this student loves anime. We're going to click that one, and then it'll be in the style of anime. All right, so click enter, and we'll give this a few seconds to run. You can see it's getting started, and it's running here. You can also add the output size that you want. If you want to do 16:9, if you want to do 4:5, the Instagram size of the picture. You could do just in a regular story page output, regular size of paper, 8:11, whatever you want. Give ChatGPT those instructions. It'll take a little bit to run. You can see it gives this translucent image. It'll start fading here. It does take a little bit to run. So we'll give it a little bit and we'll see how it does. See, it's starting to reveal the animation. It's always pretty dramatic, the reveal that it does. We can see some of the bright colors, and it looks like it's going to be out on the playground. So let's see. All right, and here is the cover art. Now, the cool thing about ChatGPT, if you double click inside that image, you can go back in and kind of give any descriptions. If you click this edit button here, you can edit any part of this right here and say, make him or make Alex look less stressed out. We don't want to create even more worry and anxiety in our real students. So we just gave it just a quick prompt that, hey, look less stressed out. If you wanted to, change the race or ethnicity of Alex, you could say, hey, make Alex Hispanic, make Alex Black. Make Alex, whatever race or ethnicity that you want. And so we're going to exit out of this. You can see it's going to do the same thing, get started, and it's going to rerun again. We'll give it a few seconds. It should be a bit faster, and then we'll come back when that's ready to go. And here's the big reveal. And remember, on this one, we said make Alex seem less stressed. And just as a point of reference, stressed out version of Alex with tears. And we simply said, make Alex look less stressed. And now here's this updated picture of Alex. You can take this, put it in a Word doc along with the original output from Alex. There you go. One more thing that you can do, if you double click in there, you can download this as a PNG, wherever you want to download it. You can't see my Finder window, but I've saved that. And now I have this as a file. Let's see if I can open it up. Depending on how I share my screen, it might not. Yeah, you're not going to be able to see it, but it's there, and that's pretty cool. And just like that, you have been able to use School Psych AI in combination with ChatGPT to create a social story. What will you create a social story on? Give it a try. Make sure you hit the like, subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos like this. Until next time, take care, everyone.